What if your 60s weren't the winding down, but the gearing up? What if this decade was your launch pad, not your landing strip? You haven't come this far just to settle. You've come this far to soar. After 60, society whispers, slow down. But your soul, it roars. Let's go. This is not the end of the road. It's a brand new chapter. In this video, we're unlocking the mindset, habits, and courage it takes to live boldly after 60. Because the horizon hasn't narrowed, it's just expanded. Let's go claim it. Number one, redefine the narrative. At some point, society decided that 60 was the beginning of the end. That after 6 decades of living, dreaming, striving, and building, the only thing left to do was slow down, stay quiet, and fade into the background. But let's be clear, that's a lie. You are not a statistic. You are not a stereotype. You are not your age. You are your energy. You are your intention. You are your habits, your beliefs, and your willingness to keep showing up boldly. Redefining the narrative after 60 starts with challenging everything you've been told about what's appropriate for your age. Who decided 60 was too old to start a business, run a marathon, write a novel, or fall in love again? Who said you have to dim your light just because you've been shining for a few decades? Here's the truth. Your age is not a ceiling, it's a platform. Every experience you've had, every lesson you've learned, every success and failure, it all adds up to an incredible foundation. One that gives you an edge most people overlook, wisdom backed by time. Think about it, how many people in their 20s and 30s are still figuring out who they are? Still chasing the approval of others, still unsure of what matters most. But you've seen enough to know what counts. You've survived heartbreak, hardship, and hard decisions. You've celebrated milestones and weathered storms. And because of that, you now hold a clarity that only time can offer. That clarity is power. Redefining the narrative doesn't mean pretending you're 30. It means stepping fully into the strength of who you are now, with zero apologies. It means recognizing that life after 60 isn't a lesser version of life. It's a deeper, more focused version of it. Most people live their lives climbing a mountain they didn't even choose. They reach 60 and realize they were chasing someone else's idea of success. But this is your moment to choose your mountain. You've got the tools. You've got the perspective. Now it's time to climb with purpose. But here's the key. Redefining your life starts with redefining your identity. Instead of saying, I'm too old for that, say, now I finally have the time, the wisdom, and the courage for that. Instead of thinking it's too late, think this is just the beginning of what I really want. Because here's what matters, identity drives behavior. If you see yourself as someone who is finished, you'll stop growing. But if you see yourself as someone who's still evolving, still curious, still hungry, then every day becomes an opportunity to expand, explore, and express. There's a quote by George Eliot that says, "It's never too late to be what you might have been." That's not just inspirational fluff, it's a mindset, a choice, a new lens through which to see the rest of your life. So don't let your past define your possibility. Let your present define your power. You've still got dreams. You've still got fire. The question is, are you ready to throw off the script that was written for you and start writing your own? You are not at the end of your story. You're at the beginning of a new chapter. So turn the page, write it boldly, because the story isn't over. It's just getting good. Number two, pursue purpose, not permission. Let's be honest, too many of us spend the first half of our lives waiting for the right time, waiting for someone to say, you're ready. Waiting for permission to chase the things that light us up inside. And sometimes we don't even realize we're waiting. But after 60, the truth becomes undeniable. The only permission slip you need is the one you write yourself. This is your moment to stop asking, can I do, and start declaring, I'm doing this. Because living boldly after 60 doesn't come from being granted approval. It comes from choosing purpose over permission. And here's the thing about purpose. It doesn't always shout. It doesn't always arrive with trumpets or bright light. Sometimes it's a whisper, a gentle nudge, a quiet but persistent feeling in your chest that says, this matters. Maybe it's that novel you never wrote, the business you always dreamed about, the nonprofit you thought of starting, the garden, the gallery, the guitar in the closet, the people you want to help, the stories you want to tell. Purpose is personal. No one else can define it for you. But once you feel it, you owe it to yourself to follow it. And you don't need to wait for a clear path. Most meaningful things in life don't come with a roadmap. You find the way by walking it. Now let's address the voice that creeps in for so many people after 60. Isn't it too late? Absolutely not. Too late for what? Too late to learn? Too late to build? Too late to make an impact? Colonel Sanders started KFC in his. Laura Ingalls Wilder published her first Little House book at 6. Grandma Moses began painting seriously in her late 70s. And these aren't exceptions. They're examples. They show us what's possible when you stop waiting and start moving. Your purpose might not make headlines. That doesn't make it any less real. Raising a grandchild, mentoring a neighbor, building a community garden. These are legacies. Bold lives aren't always big in scale, but they're always big in meaning. The secret is this. The moment you stop waiting for someone to tell you go, and you decide that now is the right time, you tap into a power most people never use. You reclaim your voice. You reclaim your time. You reclaim your direction. And that's when you begin to live with boldness. When you live from purpose, everything changes. Your days gain direction. Your actions feel intentional. Your setbacks become lessons, not losses. Because you're no longer wandering, you're building. Permission seeks safety. Purpose creates momentum. So don't wait for the world to open a door for you. Kick it open. Start the class. Join the group. Make the call. Write the first paragraph. Book the one-way ticket. And don't let the fear of starting late rob you of the joy of starting it all. Because the truth is, starting something in your 60s isn't a sign you're behind. It's a sign you're brave. You're not late. You're right on time. And your purpose, it's been waiting for you. Number 3, build bold habits. Bold living doesn't begin with a single massive leap. It begins with a single small step, repeated, refined, and reinforced until it becomes second nature. If you want to live boldly after 60, you don't need to flip your life upside down overnight. You need to build bold habits, one tiny win at a time. Here's the truth. It's not motivation that creates lasting change. It's momentum, and momentum comes from habits. Think of a habit as a vote. Every time you go for that morning walk, you cast a vote for health. Every time you journal, you cast a vote for clarity. Every time you learn something new, you cast a vote for growth. These votes might seem small on their own, but they add up, and over time they shape your identity. That's why the most powerful habits aren't the most intense. They're the most consistent. Too often we look for transformation in the big dramatic moves. But boldness isn't about grand gestures. It's about small disciplines practiced with purpose. A 10-minute stretch, a daily gratitude list, saying yes to one new thing a week. These are not minor. They're mighty. You may have spent years building habits that served your work, your family, your responsibilities. Now it's time to build habits that serve you. Start simple. If you want to walk more, put your shoes by the door. If you want to read more, leave a book on the table instead of the remote. Design your environment to support the person you're becoming, not the person you've outgrown. Remember, your habits are not just actions. They are declarations. They say, this is who I am now. And every day you act on those declarations, you reinforce that identity. Let's say your goal is to get fit. Don't start with a 5-mile jog. Start with 5 minutes. Let it be easy at first. Make it so simple you can't say no. Because success is not about doing more. It's about doing what you said you'd do, repeatedly. That's how confidence grows. That's how boldness builds. There's a myth that habits are harder to form as you get older, but that's not quite true. What's harder is changing habits that are deeply rooted. But you have something powerful on your side. Self-awareness. You know your patterns. You know your triggers. And that gives you the advantage of intentionality. Use it. Audit your day. Where is your energy going? Where are your opportunities? What one habit, just one, could you start today that would improve your life a year from now? Because here's the key. Habits compound. That one 15-minute walk turns into more stamina. That nightly journal becomes mental clarity. That daily call to a friend turns into stronger connection and joy. And these aren't just nice to haves. These are the building blocks of a bold life. At 60, you have a powerful opportunity to become a student of your own life again. You're not starting from scratch. You're starting from experience. That's a massive advantage. So ask yourself, what would a bold version of me do daily? Then do that. Even if it's just for 5 minutes. Even if it's not perfect. Even if no one else sees it. Because boldness isn't a mood. It's a method. It's something you build, piece by piece, day by day. And when your habits align with your purpose, your potential becomes unstoppable. Number 4, say yes more often. Some of the boldest lives are not the ones filled with the most planning, but the most openness. The ones where someone decided to say yes, not because they weren't afraid, but because they were ready to grow. After 60, it's easy to fall into routines that feel safe and predictable. You've earned your comfort. You've created your rhythm. But bold living doesn't come from staying where it's comfortable. It comes from leaning into what's possible. And that begins with 2 simple words. Say yes to the class that looks interesting, even if you're not sure you'll be good at it. Say yes to the coffee invite from someone new, even if you feel awkward at first. Say yes to the art, the dance, the trip, the group, the project. Because on the other side of that yes is something richer: connection, curiosity, courage. Fear will always have a reason for you to say no. It will whisper, you're too old. What if you embarrass yourself? What if it doesn't work out? And here's the truth. It might not. But what if it does? What if that one yes leads to a lifelong friendship, a new passion, a healthier body, a deeper sense of joy? You'll never know if you don't step forward. You're not saying yes to chaos. You're saying yes to life, to letting your world expand instead of shrink. Because when you stop saying yes, your world gets smaller. But when you start saying yes, even in small, brave ways, it gets bigger than you imagine. Let's break the myth that boldness means being reckless. It doesn't. Boldness is not impulsive. It's intentional. It's not about saying yes to everything. It's about saying yes to the right things, the ones that stretch you, the ones that align with your values, the ones that make you feel alive. And here's something powerful. You don't need to be confident to say yes. You just need to be willing. Confidence is a result, not a requirement. When you say yes to something unfamiliar and follow through, you teach yourself that you're capable. And every time you do that, you start with a small yes. Yes to walking into that community center. Yes to signing up for that online class. Yes to visiting the place you've always wanted to see. You don't need to know the whole plan. You just need to take the next step. One bold decision leads to another. One yes builds a bridge to a life that feels bigger and more fulfilling. Think of it this way. The opportunities that change your life don't always arrive with fanfare. Sometimes they show up quietly, disguised as an invitation to something that feels slightly out of your comfort zone. Say yes, because after 60, you are in a position of strength. You've lived, you've learned, and now you get to choose, not based on fear or approval, but on what sets your soul on fire. You don't have to wait for someone to open a door. You are the door, and your yes is the key. So let this be your practice. When the opportunity comes, when the voice inside says maybe, lean in. Say yes to the adventure. Say yes to the discomfort. Say yes to becoming someone even more vibrant, courageous, and fully alive. Because the next chapter of your life, it's not written in caution. It's written in yes. Number 5. Surround yourself with energy. You become who you're around. It's not just a saying. It's a law of life. The people in your circle shape your mindset, your habits, and ultimately your destiny. And after 60, this becomes more important than ever. Because here's what often happens. People shrink their world as they age. They retreat, isolate, and surround themselves with only what's familiar. But comfort without challenge leads to stagnation. If you want to live boldly, you need to intentionally surround yourself with energy. People who are curious, motivated, positive, and alive. Energy is contagious. So is apathy. One will light your fire, the other will dim it. That's why it's time to be deliberate about your relationship. Are the people around you lifting you up or pulling you down? Are they encouraging your growth or reinforcing your limitations? This doesn't mean you cut everyone off. It means you lean in to those who challenge you to be better, to keep growing, to keep dreaming. People who don't see your age as a finish line, but as proof that you're just getting warmed up. Think of it like a garden. Your mindset is the soil. The people in your life are the water, the sunlight, or sometimes the weed. If you want bold things to grow, you need to nourish that soil with positivity, enthusiasm, and support. Anything else, pull it out at the root. Find people who talk about ideas, not just aches and pains. People who are excited about life, not cynical about the future. Join a book club. Take that watercolor class. Volunteer. Start a walking group. Engage. Because connection isn't just social. It's spiritual. It reminds you that you're still part of something bigger. And don't limit your circle to people your age. Some of your greatest sources of energy may be younger people, curious, creative, full of fresh perspective. And guess what? They need you too. Your wisdom, your calm, your stories. Mentorship is a two-way street. So is friendship. And if you're thinking, but I don't know where to start, start small. Reach out to one person, attend one event, try one new thing. Bold living is built in moments like these, not in sweeping change, but in steady connection. There's a simple rule: proximity is power. If you want to think bigger, live louder, and move forward, get close to people who are already doing it. Let their momentum pull you forward. Let their energy reignite your own. And here's the beautiful thing about being 60 and beyond. You get to choose your circle with more clarity. You don't have time for drama. You don't have time for draining conversations and toxic dynamics. You've earned the right to prioritize peace, growth, and passion. Choose people who speak life into you, who remind you that your dreams are valid, who challenge you with love and support you with strength. You've already spent decades proving yourself. Now spend the next ones aligning yourself with people, places, and energy that elevate your spirit. Bold living doesn't happen in isolation. It happens in community, in connection, in conversation, in collaboration. So surround yourself with energy that reflects who you're becoming, not who you used to be. Because when you build a circle of bold, vibrant, purpose-driven people, your life expands, and so does your courage to keep going. Even further, even higher, even bolder. Number 6, own your legacy now. There's a common idea that legacy is something we leave behind, something people talk about after we're gone. But bold living flips that script. Your legacy isn't just about what happens later. It's about how you show up now. Legacy
isn't something you write at the end of your story. It's something you build with every word, every action, every choice. Today, tomorrow, and every day after. And here's the powerful truth. You don't have to be famous to leave a legacy. You just have to be intentional. Legacy is found in the impact you have, the lives you touch, the lessons you pass on, and the courage you demonstrate in how you live. Think about it. What if you saw every day as a page in your legacy? Would you complain? Or would you contribute? Would you hide or would you help? Would you react? Or would you lead? At 60 and beyond, your life has weight. Your words carry wisdom. Your presence inspires others in ways you may not even realize. You've seen storms and kept standing. You've navigated change and kept moving. That resilience, that strength, that is part of your legacy. And the best part, you still get to shape. A bold legacy isn't built in a single moment. It's built in consistent alignment with your values. It's in the way you treat the cashier at the grocery store, the way you listen when someone needs to be heard, the way you show up for yourself and for others with integrity, curiosity, and courage. Owning your legacy means refusing to drift through your later years. It means living with clarity and conviction, not just comfort. It means asking, what do I want the next 10, 20, even 30 years to stand for? Too many people let life happen to them. You've earned the right to make life happen through you. Start small. Write your story. Share your knowledge. Pass on your skill. Teach your grandchild how to cook your signature dish. Record your thoughts on life. Mentor someone who's walking a path you've already traveled. Create something. Give something. Build something. Because here's the secret. Bold legacy doesn't have to be loud. It just has to be. It's in the stories your family will tell, the habits you modeled, the values you stood for, the courage you embodied when others thought it was time to fade away. But you decided to shine even brighter. And don't underestimate the ripple effect of your example. When you live boldly after 60, you give others permission to do the same. You become a living demonstration that life doesn't end at a number. It expands. That message, lived through action, is more powerful than any speech. Legacy is not about perfection. It's about present, about showing up fully for the life you still have left. And make no mistake, there is still so much life ahead. Own it, because the boldest thing you can do after 60 is not to slow down, but to speed up your intention, to live like your days matter, because they do, to make decisions, not based on fear, but based on meaning. You don't need permission. You don't need applause. You just need to remember, the legacy you leave is the life you live. So live it fully, live it boldly, and start today, because the story of your life, it's still being written, and the pen is in your hands.